The goal of this project was to produce an academic writing style, and you're writing a paper, and you're doing a data summary on the data you gathered in class, where you measured the length of a rope and noticed that as you tied knots in the rope that it shrunk. So there is a project checklist to kind of go along with the project here. And the goals were to use a spreadsheet to make calculations and display data and to create a professional report. And in terms of the checklist, the first two items have actually been done for you if you're using the Google Classroom template that I just displayed, the blank paper. It's already in the right font, and it's already set up to be 2 columns. So in terms of the project checklist, those are done for you. So the next things are to include a table with your data and to include a plot of your data. Those are going to be done in a spreadsheet. You might consider starting by writing a brief summary. So in other words, the example paper that was provided, there's just kind of words to introduce the setting, and then it talks about table 1 and displays a table. And it even refers to displayed in table 1 below. That's something that you would do in an academic paper environment. And then notice it talks about visualizing the table in figure 1 below, and it says figure 1. So I would start your paper, your project, by just typing some words about like what you did with the project. So for example, you would say something like, I taped a string to a meter stick and recorded its length, and I noticed that as I tied knots, the length started to decrease. So you just type some words. And then you would say something like, the data is displayed in table 1 below. Okay, so then you would go to a spreadsheet. You do File, New, and then Spreadsheet. And then you get something like this, where you have access to a spreadsheet and you can type your table. And so you could label it table 1, and you type knots and length. And it's always a good idea to have units. You were measuring in centimeters. And so this is just totally made up data. You should be typing your data, not the ones from this video. But you'll type the data that you had into a table, and then you can click and select the table and do Control-C or Edit Copy, and you'll paste it into your paper. And now it says table 1, and you have the data below. So it'll take just a minute to paste. So now I can see it's starting to look nice. And then I can say the data is displayed in figure 1 below. And now I need to go make figure 1. So friendly reminder, the way we did that was in the spreadsheet. You don't want to select your table 1 label, but you can select your table including the labels at the top here. So it looks like this. And we did insert chart. And it almost always gets it wrong. I don't want a column chart or a bar chart. I want the one that's called a scatter. So I'm going to go find the one that says scatter chart. And that looks good. Now notice I'm kind of zoomed in for the purpose of the video, but it's well labeled. I have knots and length, and it's plotted as a set of points. So I can grab this, Control-C, and I can go over to my paper, and I can paste it. And I've started to get the structure of this paper. Now, right now, it doesn't quite look as academic as the example that was provided. So you're going to want to be kind of careful. Like the purpose really is to make it look really nice. So as you're typing words and things, just try to be careful on where you put them so that it keeps this kind of academic feel. And then just keep going through the checklist. In terms of words to add, just make sure that you have these things, like you explain what you did, you describe what you saw happening, such as I saw the length of the rope start to decrease as I tied knots. Talk about the starting amount and how it changed, like every single knot seemed to decrease by this much on average. What type of relationship you can see. You can reference what the shape of the plot looks like in your scatter plot. So those are some of the things to start to include, and there's more things in the checklist. So that should be enough to get you started on this project.